Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an episode of Started From Scratch. Now, if you guys watched my last episode, you guys will know that I was looking to build a Serie, just a 3-5-2 squad. That's the formation that I enjoy most on FIFA 13. It's the one I feel strongest with that, and coming in at second would probably be a 4-3-3 formation. But before we go and build the team, I actually had this game that I played just before I did go on to build the team, and I played pretty well in it, actually. I was really chuffed with the way I performed. You know, they actually managed to get the opening goal there with Tarapt, the man Tarapt. You guys know I rant and rave about how good he is, but he actually punishes me himself first, and Serie there taking a shot. Serie is actually a really good pick for the left mid. I find as though he does do well. A lot of the time his stamina is a little bit up and down because he is naturally a left winger, so he's naturally just not made for coming all the way back, and that's what left midfielders have to do in the 3-5-2 formation. They do have to drop back quite a bit, and you'll often notice that any sort of left winger that you play at left mid in a 3-5-2 formation will often tend to drop a lot of stamina and not play as well, I suppose. But Serie does alright besides for that little stamina issue. But a nice stop and turn there, a move that I've been using quite often, but a great volley from Serie, and he manages to put it into the back of the net to make it 2-1. And I was in pretty good shape there, things were looking good, but he kept passing it around, and fortunately for me, I managed to steal it off him using Czech Tiote. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a big fan of Czech Tiote in this game. I honestly am not. And would you like some salt with those chips, Morales? That was a nice little chip over the keeper, and that managed to put us 3-1 up. And whenever I'm leading, you know, like 2-1, I always have that little bit more confidence to pull off things like that, like chips. If I'm down or I'm drawing, then I'll tend to just try and take it past the keeper and put it in the back of the net. But when I'm in that sort of lead or in a comfortable position, then it's often that I'll go and do things that I wouldn't usually do in a more sweaty or competitive environment. But a nice chop in there from Serie, and I get very lucky with that goal. And if I was him, I'd be a little pissed off with that. But I was gonna win anyways. I was already 4-1 up, so it was more just a nail in the coffin from Serie. As Serie manages to pick up a nice hat trick. But here are just some stats for you. So Serie's 8 and 8, 8 played, 8 scored. Morales is 8 and 9. You know, I'm just decided I thought I'd show you these guys because I'm a bit of a stat whore myself. Morales, as you guys can see, like I said, 8 and 9, and I just enjoy looking at stats to see how players perform. I'm not a guy who necessarily believes that stats prove how good a player is or how well they've played for you, but I mean, obviously if they have a great goal per game record, then they tend to do all right, you know. But it's not something that I base my entire. So for example, just because Serie has got an 8 and 8 doesn't mean that he's not doing as well as Morales, who's got 8 and 9. So don't take stats too literally, but it always gives you a rough idea, if you know what I mean. But anyways, let's get building into this Serie A side. That was the only piece of gameplay you guys will see, so if you're only interested in watching this series for gameplay, I apologize, but there will only be I'm only building the team for the rest of this episode. But if you enjoy checking out I suppose squad builders and things like that, then the rest of this episode is for you. But yeah, so Ogbonna was probably, I asked you guys to leave a comment on my Facebook with a foothead link linking me your teams, and there were tons of them. I tried to get through as many as possible. I hope you guys do understand, though, I didn't get through all of them. I got through at least 100 of them, though, but you know, I couldn't get through all of them. I just don't have the time of day. But there was a very frequent pattern that I picked up in the majority of them, and a lot of them were quite repetitive. But it really stood out to me which players you guys thought were the key ones, the ones that would do best in a team. And as number one, one of them was Hernandez. He was actually in one of my Serie A squad builders. This was a Serie A team, was the first one I ever built on FIFA 13 Ultimate Team. One, because they're fantastic for their price. You know, they are really cheap. They do have quite a good pace in them, and they've just got good all-round players. So as you guys can see, there's the team so far. But the likes of Muriel was definitely the most picked striker for everyone. To anyone who watches my career mode series as well, I don't know if there's, you know, the audience both watches both my videos, but Muriel is fantastic on career mode. I absolutely love him. So when I saw that he was a hot pick in these foothead squads that you guys were linking me, I instantly was like, there's no way I can't do it. So I decided I'd buy him in Ultimate Team and put him in the squad. Another center back that was a big deal for me was Lucio, sorry, and he actually was one of the players who wasn't picked a lot in these foothead links. But for me, when I've used him at the beginning of Ultimate Team, he was so great and just a big rock at the back. So he was probably one of the players that I decided to kind of go out on a limb for just myself, and I decided, you know, I just wanted to use him because I know personally that he is quite good. So that's just that's probably the only player that I kind of chose that wasn't you know, chosen a lot in these foothead squads that you guys linked to me. Probably the most popular keeper that was linked to me was Marchetti. He does go for quite a lot, you know, as you guys can see, 3,000, and I just didn't want to spend 3,000 on a goalkeeper. You guys will see I end up going for a different goalkeeper, but Marchetti was definitely the most popular one, so I did try and go for him, but unfortunately I just wasn't willing to spend 3k on a particular player. But bear in mind, guys, I am looking to expand the squad, and you know, as time goes on, make improvements to particular positions. So for example, next time I have some coins to spend, you know, 3,000 coins isn't a lot of coins. I was just being a bit stingy with my money, and so next time I have, you know, 3,000 coins to spend, I'll go and just improve that goalkeeper position. But until then, I went with Handanovic, I think, the Inter player. But as you guys can see, Muriel there, picked him up for 1.5k. Some of these players were bought for a little bit more than they're worth, just because I was more focusing on just picking them up. Price was, you know, I didn't want to pay too much for him, but I didn't want to have to wait around and just, you know, say just for the sake of saving a couple of hundred coins. So, yeah, with that being said, Hernandez and Muriel will be the strikers for the squad. Center attacking mid was Coutinho. Coutinho is a fantastic player, very good center attacking mid. Left mid, a lot of pace. I don't know what I think to him just yet. Zanetti and Cambiasso at center defensive mid. I'm just powering through them. Feel free to hit pause if you guys really just want to stay there and check him out. And I decided to move Lucio to the middle because he is the strongest and he has the least amount of pace. So I figured it'd be best to have him right in the middle there as that rock. My other two center backs were Ogbonna and Silvestre. Silvestre was an interesting pick, a very cheap player for what you get, and he looks really good, and you know, an 80 rated player for like 350 coins, that's just you can't say no to that. But I hope you guys have all enjoyed this episode. If you have, then a huge thanks to everyone who's participated, linking me particular teams and things like that. You guys really, that's just awesome. Thank you so much for your input into this series, essentially. So yeah, thanks a lot guys for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.